Louisiana Beer Reviews, Special Edition, Asahi Super Dry Revisited. There is a code on the back, but it doesn't say anything intelligible. This is a 21.4 ounce bottle, so you're getting a little bit cheated. It's not a 22 ounce. Asahi Super Dry was introduced in Japan in 1987. They had been making an Asahi beer for years, but they came out with this extra dry rice beer, 5% alcohol. It became so popular that dry beers became sort of a little bit of a trend in the United States, but that didn't really catch on, and now Bud Dry and other dry beers are gone. Gets a poor rating on Beer Advocate. It's not a shock. The bros say poor. 7 out of 100 on Rate Beer. That's very low. 50 out of 100 for the style Japanese rice beer. And it gets a fine score on the beer and meat, which would average to about a C, C plus, something like that. So $2.99, that's not too cheap, and a little turned off by being 21.4 instead of 22. Well, it unscrewed very easily, almost like it was loose. You can always smell it. Okay. There's a lot of smoke. I don't know if you can see that. There's a lot of smoke coming out. I had this very cold. Guess I had it a little too cold. But these are the kind of beers you want to have them about as cold as possible. It's going to start pouring out of there. All right. It's a brown bottle, thankfully. Don't have to worry about it getting skunked. Let me check one more thing on here. I know Sapporo bought out Canadian brewery, like Unibrow. Okay, brewed under supervision by Molson Canada, Toronto, imported by Asahi, Torrance, California. Okay, so this is a Japanese recipe, but this particular one was brewed in Canada, Ontario, and by Molson. All right, pretty thick and sort of rocky, or I should say spongy, white head, and the appearance is clear, bubbly, straw appearance, pretty much standardized beer look to it. You go to Japan, 99% of the beers are the light-bodied lager beers with rice as the adjunct. They haven't really gotten into craft beers too much over there, and dark beers and all that kind of stuff. It's slowly growing, but they just really like quaffable beers over there. So the aroma, well, it's very cold, so it's gonna have to warm a little bit, but you're gonna get some kind of pungent grain aroma. It's that rice and the barley malts. It smells nice. It's a pretty standardized aroma. Let's go with the flavor. Yeah. Grain, a lot of sweetness, a lot of biscuity malts, a slight bit of grassiness with the hops, a grassy hop bitterness. The body is not as light as American beers like Budweiser. It's a fuller bodied beer. It's more like a medium bodied beer. It has some heft to it. It's pretty carbonated. The finish it's pretty dry. It's not, they say super dry, but I mean, if you want super dry, get Bud Light. Then you're going to find out what super dry is, but it's pretty dry. They ought to call it, instead of Asahi super dry, they ought to call it Asahi relatively dry. But it's refreshing, super refreshing though. They ought to say that. Super refreshing. The drinkability is really beyond belief. And it's just really, really enjoyable. It's so well balanced between the sweetness of the malts, the hops. It's got that crispness with the rice. I really don't see what could be the complaint with this beer. I just think it is top notch. A 7 out of 100 on rate beer just seems so low that it's gets into the ludicrous area. But I'm going to give it an A-, and that's just because the aroma's not rich enough, and I'm really being nitpicky and overcritical. But I think the lowest you could give it, and I'm talking about beer overall around the world, the lowest you could fairly give it would be an A-, excellent at the lower end of excellent. It just is such an enjoyable, fabulous beer. I thought it was great the first time I had it, and I think it's great again. And if you ever see it, buy it and try it. If you ever see the black Asahi, the Korinama, I think it's called. I think that's wrong. But if you ever see the black Asahi, get it. It's great. And they got this amber Asahi. Check that out too. So, les bon temps relais. This is a really nice beer. Really nice. And I'm going to end this review by saying, y'all come on down to southeastern Louisiana.